been on it. It's only been so. I'm trying to bring Clintonville Women's Club up to the 21st century, but it's a big tug. But we do get a few people on Zoom meetings and things. So
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I was joking today at work that I sit by I'm in, a classic Clintonville house with those giant windows.
Mhm.
I sit, and so my son, my lighting's been great until like the last couple weeks with
Yeah.
the clouds and now it's like dark and
Yeah.
like a little light that I finally got clipped onto my laptop because I was like so dark in all my work calls. I was like, what is happening? It's like, oh, it's Ohio and it's almost winter.
I got a really neat thing with 2 circular lights and everything.
Yeah.
It works great, but the clamp on it is so hard to push. I mean, I have to use 2 hands, and even then, and so I'm just in front of a bunch of lamps right now, and I haven't decided where to put my new one because I mean I've done most of my Zoom meetings out on the porch, and it's getting to be a little cold out there.
Oh,
yeah. Glassed in and everything. So.
Well, Jim, we did get that heater you recommended. We actually stopped on our way back from the market and got one at Lowe's.
You know what? I saw on Sunday that they were at Lowe's as well. They had like a couple different models.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of heater is that?
I actually haven't set it up yet. You explain it. I haven't.
Yeah. So it's it's probably about, yay big. It's an indoor, it's actually rated indoor, just a propane camp heater. And we use it. So my wife we use it at the booth, the farmer's market booth, just to take the edge off. It does pretty well. Yeah. So
I got it. I got it because
the baby one.
Yeah. I got it because it's, we've been having people over and like it rained one night and we like opened the garage up, opened all the doors up and everything. And I'm like, that thing would heat the garage and we could have the doors open and feel really safe, right? So
it's pretty nice. We like it.
Yeah.
I do have a little space heater out on my porch, and especially if it's sunny, if I don't need to use it at all. I just need to use it when it's not sunny.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just hard to make myself go out there.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got everyone we're going to have. I think Will just texted me and said he's on his way home and he'll jump on. Megan sent an update, but she wasn't able to join today. And Andrew Miller also wasn't able to. So I think we have who we're going to have. Just when the traffic signal box project couldn't get any cooler, it has. So I don't know. Let me share here. The videos have been up here now for a few weeks, I think, Amanda, right?
Maybe, since I think they went up right after the last meeting.
Yeah, so I took the time finally today to put some stuff up on the 2 discussion forum posts I had sort of weighed in on just to sort of provide an update. So the 3 videos are up. Highly recommend watching them if you haven't.
There should be 4.
Yeah, it still says 4th one to be added for whatever reason.
I've sent. Okay, I can check with BJ. I sent that one in a couple versions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I thought they were, Amanda, really well done. I watched all of them.
My amateur video shooting.
No, I mean the music's good and the questions were great. Gail's is really interesting to listen to, and her stories behind some of the dogs.
Yeah,
and then
I had to cut down quite a bit because she had a lot of stories. But everybody was a delight to meet, and she even said to me, she's like, "Send me a picture of your dog. I'll paint your dog." And I was like, "I would love that."
That is awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Libby, I wonder if she does cats too.
Maybe.
I don't know. I could ask her. Yeah, she is a delight.
Oh man.
Yeah, and she hung out for a little bit and like played with my dog, and she was lovely.
Yeah, and then Leo's was great as well. If you haven't watched it, I mean, just
He's a cool kid. Like,
Yeah,
I even texted his dad afterwards. I was like, "You got a pretty cool son." Like,
Yeah.
he was cool.
If that's what the future holds, I feel like we're doing all right. So
Oh, yeah.
really,
Nice.
really good. In fact, he even gave your last question, I think, Amanda, was something about, public art and what's the value of it or something like that. And he actually referenced the
He referenced Paul's
yeah, he did.
equality.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Oh, I
Yeah.
can't wait to
And
watch
that's-
this. I haven't.
And that's an 11-year-old. So there you go. Yeah, please do. Please watch them. Really, really good. And it just adds a sort of community layer to it that's just so, I feel like, really important. And, a part of the project that, I don't think we had fully thought through what that impact would be. And the impact has just been super. So really, really, really good. And I talked to Megan tonight. She gave me sent me a note a minute ago. And it just keeps getting better. So the last few weeks, she's been presenting each artist with their sort of stipend check.
Oh, right.
And she's been doing that. Clintonville Inc. has been helping out, but they've been taking pictures at each box with the artist and the area commissioner. Spotlight's been taking pictures of that, and they'll do another article after all the sort of checks have been delivered. And then here's a nice little bonus. One of the artists has decided to donate the check to CRC. And
Very nice.
they're going to present that check to CRC on Thursday. And I think BJ is going to go to that, as well as Mike McLaughlin from Clintonville Inc.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's just a nice sort of like giving back piece to this that also I don't think we had fully sort of considered what the impact of all of this could be. So, just really, really good stuff. So that is sort of the update. I think it'd probably be worth, I think we've gotten a little bit of money in from the just sort of the promotion of things, another couple $100 maybe. But I do think it's definitely worth doing some more promotion, maybe once that Spotlight article is out, and some, making some more hay out of it when that happens. Greetings, Will. How are you?
Hello. Sorry, have to
no
walk
worries.
my daughter back from dance, and
No worries. We were just getting started. No worries at all.
Hey, Will.
okay.
I just gave a real quick update, Will, but if you haven't seen the videos for each of the artists, 3 of them and a 4th soon to come are up on the Area Commission's website, and then the QR codes on each box link to that. And they're really, really great to sort of hear the story behind the art and the inspiration and then the stories. Really cool. And then this week, or this last couple of weeks, each artist has been presented with their stipend money. So there'll be a story coming out on that. They're getting a picture taken at the box with the area commissioner from that location. And so there'll be another story. And then another kind of cool thing is one of the artists donated their $500 stipend to CRC, and that's going to happen on Thursday. So really, really good community outcome on all that. I do think we had, Libby, unfortunately, our first case of one of these boxes being graffitied or written
Correct.
in some way.
Henderson and High.
Yeah.
Mhm. Jim
Yeah, go ahead.
did a lot to get rid of it, and then Megan stopped by and took care of the rest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was kind of cool about it in a way was that the community sort of noticed it and let Jim know, and did he just come by and have hand sanitizer in his car? And
Exactly.
Yeah.
No kidding. It's that easy?
yeah,
Pretty much. It's basically isopropyl alcohol is what Megan said. And the installers gave her stuff, but the hand sanitizer, of course, took care of a lot of it, and then she finished it off. So
Nice.
yeah.
One thing about COVID, we all have access to hand
Isn't that the truth?
at the
Right.
ready. Yeah.
On hand, always.
Yeah, our little neighbor Facebook group was in an uproar over it. So I posted something on there too of like, don't worry, this has been thought about.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I do think I'm going to talk with Megan about reaching back out to the Clean Slate group. Just let them know, like, you know, what all's been done and how happy we are with the installation, and you know, the community story part of it, but hey, the graffiti coding works too. So I do wonder if we should, and it sounds like it's sort of happening organically, which is always the best way for these things to happen, that that we sort of keep an eye on these things, you know, Libby. So I don't know if there's a way to, I don't know. It's great that it's happening organically, but I don't know if there's a way to maybe sort of formalize it, because I don't run across every part of the neighborhood every week even.
Right.
Be nice just to make sure we stay on top of it once the sort of novelty of these things passes a little bit. So I don't know if anyone has any ideas about how to do that, but
I'll give some thought to that.
yeah. Good news is we're all out walking around. I think more than ever before. So, and it's great set that the Facebook group's on top of it. So was that like an individual, like sort of street thing or a next door kind of thing, Zach, or what?
So we have our own like Facebook group called the East Beach Waldhood. That is just for people that live basically south of Morrison, north of West. So it's just a little Facebook group that has been created as kind of a refuge for people fleeing the other Clintonville Facebook groups.
Yeah.
So the moderators do a very good job of ensuring that the conversation is always civil, and it's a very kind of it's great. It's a very nice supportive forum, actually.
And, you know, some of the boxes, a graffiti would show up faster than others. Like Leo's box, it would be a little hard for graffiti to show up. But the dogs, I think, are especially, I think they're beloved already. And of course, lots and lots of traffic passing there, whereas a couple of the other corners, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
My stodgy in-laws from Upper Arlington even noticed.
That's great. Excellent. Well, anything else here? That's sort of the update. You know, it's the I didn't know there would be that much to share this month on this, but there is. So that's great. Okay. The other major order of business was Zach and I wanted to sort of revisit the mobility framework update, and starting with a survey, since that was really the building block of the work that we did, you know, starting way back in 2013, was meeting with the public and using a combination of the input that we got at a special meeting we held in person, but also through that year's round of ERF funding, the city did a survey. So between those two things, that's where we populated a lot of these ideas. So there's not a URF sort of program that's live right now for the next round. There's a lot of other surveys, as I've sort of shown you guys, with the Vision Zero plan and the Northwest Corridor that sort of touches Clintonville, that we can glean some things from, but we thought it'd be good to do our own survey. And just to sort of, I went back and I did sort of some accounting of all the stuff that we did together through the last two rounds of this work, and, you know, put it down on paper for probably the first time, just as sort of recap all the things that we're taking care of through this work. And you know, if you go back and look at the efforts of others as well, there's even more. But this is stuff that, you know, we've, through this committee and the area commission, sort of touched directly. You know, is all the medians. I think some of us probably forgot about the steps down to Glen Echo Park that was done when that bridge was redone, as well as the balustrade there to sort of match the historic look of that. The crosswalks throughout the neighborhood. And then obviously the bikeway, the road diet, the bike lanes, the sidewalks in Indianola actually, I think, are currently out to bid. I think there was a story in the dispatch in that large contract that they let across the city for repaving and sidewalks.
I'm so excited because Summit Street north of Weber is on for repaving, and I didn't see anything about sidewalks, but the Summit Street there north of Weber up to Clinton Heights is a mess, and they finally are on. So
yeah. So my understanding is that Garden to Jeffrey on Indianola was part of that whole package. I'll confirm that, but that was my understanding. And then the only last thing left would be one more median potentially in Indianola. So, you know, we've really ticked off a lot of the stuff that was in the past plan. And now it's sort of, you know, where do we go from here? And Will and I had a chance to ride, actually walk together than ride. You know, there's phase 2 and probably phase 3, the way the city writes it for the bikeway, but we wanted to, and, you know, a bunch of other ideas I think we've all collectively had, but we wanted to reach out to the community and get some feedback from them as to some of the projects they see. So Zach, do you have the ability to screen share?
Yes. 1 second here.
Okay, I'll stop. I'll let you pull up the survey. And I went ahead and took it, so I had a sense of how it worked, Zach.
Yes, I will explain how it works in a little more detail here. So share screen, host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, let me see if I need to do something special. All right, you should be good now.
Share screen, perfect. All right. So after going back, I and thinking through the survey, looking through the big long list of stuff that was provided me by Andrew, one of the things I was trying to do is one, how can I maybe perhaps cast a wider net of you know, residents and citizens here in the Clintonville area. I thought that, you know, kind of the survey that I had written first was, dare I say, it felt a little more, it was written in planarese in some ways, right? And I really wanted to kind of rethink maybe the approach of how do we make sure that this gets out to residents that are, you know, not experts in urban development or urban infrastructure or things like that, right? So I took a different approach where we're applying a different methodology, and I'll kind of detail that a little bit later once we get into that segment, because there's a good explainer page that I want to kind of bounce ideas off of you guys for. But this survey is kind of applying some of the not newer, I shouldn't say that, but they were developed in the 1970s, but have really kind of come into their own in the past 10 years or so, market research methods that I use in my day-to-day job. So specifically, this is using a software package that enables us to do a lot of different analysis against data collected from this survey. So the survey is pretty simple. I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. So first, what year were you born? So you can come in here and you can select any year that you were born. Pending the comments last time, you can select any year now. It doesn't matter if you're 18 or 100 or 2, you can take the survey. And then below that, approximately how many years have you lived in Clintonville? As opposed to doing a type of number, I wanted to give kind of people an option to select here. So less than 1 year, 1 to 4 years individually, and then kind of 5-year buckets up until 20, 30, 40, and 50 plus years. So this will give us a pretty good idea of how long people have been living in the neighborhood. Also wanted to ask people, do you currently rent or own where you live? So own a single family home, own a condo / apartment, rent a single family or detached home, rent an apartment. I think that's really good because, you know, even though we have residents in the neighborhood who are owners, and certainly they are, you know, very important, you know, we do not want to, I think, exclude renters because we really want Clintonville to be a place for everybody.
Mhm.
Lastly down here, so there's a lot of conversation last time around perhaps the neighborhoods and where those would be. So as opposed to actually selecting neighborhoods, you know, I want to give people the option to enter in their address or their closest cross street, right? So this way, if they're uncomfortable sharing their address, you know, they can enter in their cross street and we can still get a good idea of where they live. But if they're comfortable enough giving us their address, then certainly that's something that we can use as well. And we can geocode perhaps some of this data against it and actually display the survey data in a map, which is pretty cool, which I've done before as well, although I don't have that software immediately handy. So here, I'll just go through and we'll select a few pieces of information here just so we can see. So I'll say 83. I've lived in Clintonville 2 years because I have. I wasn't born in 83, but, and let's say I rent a family home and say I live at High and, or I'll just use the example. I'll click next and then it pops into a question that's an open box text form. So when you view this, on your cell phones, this will actually change in terms of size. So it's actually about perfect for any cell phone, smartphone, so that way you can actually type in this box. So I can come in here and I can say, I see Libby on my screen. Hi, Libby, right? Very easy to type in information here. And I set it so that way there's a fairly high character limit because one of the things I noticed in going back through the information that was provided from Andrew is that a lot of people had written very long comments, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't cutting any of those comments off. Hopefully we don't cut any off, but I think there's something like a 10,000 character limit, which I think is more than enough.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to have that much input, we'll allow it. So yeah, and then the phrasing here, again, trying to make this as conversational as possible. As a Clintonville area resident, is there anything top of mind that you would like to change or improve in our neighborhood? So I'll type NA just for now. And one of the things I'll also mention is there's responses required up front, but not at the back in the demographics information. And I'll kind of explain why here in a little bit. So this is the kind of the beginning of the larger exercise. So this survey uses a methodology or a method known as max diff or maximum differential. So what that is it's a list of items that will appear random to the person taking the survey. But what's really going on is in the background is there's a list of options, and there's 20 options for this one, and I can share that out after I kind of present this. But there's a list of options, and then those options, the computer basically sorts them into buckets, and every person sees a different kind of iteration of those buckets. So even though it appears random to the person taking the survey, it actually isn't random. And what it's doing is it's looking at the best option and the worst option that you provide. Right. And then through a series of exercises, it'll say, OK, you said this here, and then it'll show you 5 more. And it'll say best here, worst here, 5 more, best here, worst here. And as you go through that exercise, what you're actually doing is you're comparing options across. And there's math going on in the background that will tell you kind of what's actually going on. And I'll demonstrate this using this survey. So here is the kind of the introduction to it. As the Planning and Development Committee, we have a lot of ideas to improve Clintonville. We need your feedback to help us prioritize what we should tackle next. On the next 10 pages, we'll be showing you a list of 5 items. With each list, please select which item you would help the most and the least in Clintonville. Don't worry, there are no right or wrong answers. All this exercise does is help us understand what your preferences are so that we can prioritize neighborhood improvements. When you are done with the 10 exercises, we'll show you a list of your top 3 to confirm. So please click next to begin. So when I move into this screen, So say that I'm really concerned about, say, sidewalks and pedestrian safety. I'm a person that is really interested in that. So I'm going to look at this list and I'll be like, ooh, add or connect sidewalks, add or improve pedestrian crosswalks, improve street lighting, improve multi-use paths, and improve school safety zones. Well, actually, all of these are really important to me, right? So, but the one that's most important to me is improving sidewalks or crosswalks, right? Because there's a lot of incidences where people are getting hit by cars. And the least is probably improving multi-use paths, because to me, those pedestrian crosswalks are the most important. So then I just select those two as the most and least, and I click next. And we'll go through this a few more times. Here, let's see here. Yeah, probably stormwater management's not the best. And, improving or replacing curbs has a little bit to do with sidewalks, so I'll select that. Here, let's see here. Improving planted medians, improving parks, rain pollinator gardens. I would say probably improve street lighting, because that's going to have the most to do with walking. And I'm going to say rain and pollinator gardens because it's the least to do with it. Improve or add existing dedicated bike lanes, connect sidewalks, repair level, improve safety zones, improve curbs. Bike lanes I'm least interested in, because again, I care about sidewalks a lot. And, I think repairing and leveling is a big issue. So I'm going to say that. And then here, improve, replace, pollinator gardens, crosswalks. I'm going to say improve, replace crosswalks, and probably, I don't really care much about plants right now. So here we go. And you're going to see every option in here at least twice, right? And that's kind of the secret behind it. So I'm going to say, again, repair level sidewalks, and I don't really care about those pollinator gardens. So I'm going to select at least there. But here again, multi-use paths. Yeah, that's not really of any interest to me. But improve safety school zones, absolutely. Let's see here. Connect sidewalks, absolutely. Restore plants, not really. Improve street lighting, repair level. Oh yeah, that's real important to me. And then improve appearance of streetscapes, not really. And then last page, improve appearance, medians, bike lanes, and plants. None of those really appeal to me, but of any of them, maybe bike lanes. That's probably be the closest. And then improve all-street parking. I care about sidewalks, so I don't care about parking. So all of this will then show you your top 3 options. And because I was telling you guys as I was going through, oh yeah, I really care about sidewalks, what should happen is those things should come up. And repair level, improve crosswalks, and improve, replace curbs. That's pretty close to what I said. So I'm going to say, yes, this is correct. And if I say, yes, this is correct, then I move on to the rest of the survey. If I say no, then I'll restart the previous exercise and it'll go back to the beginning. So for now, I'm going to say, yes, this is correct. And then there's the kind of the end of the survey. Thanks for your help and feedback. This is at this point, this is all the information we needed, right? Because this is really the meat and potatoes of what we're looking for. So to end the survey, we have a few questions on demographics. While we understand that you may not want to answer these, this information is really important to make sure that we have a representative sample of Clintonville residents. If you can please answer the questions, it'd be very helpful. So the reason I don't want to make these questions required is because there might be some people who are queasy about being identified in the survey data. They don't want some random person, knowing who they are, knowing about them, all these different things. And I completely understand and appreciate that. But if they do want to fill it out, we're certainly open to it. So here, I'll say that I'm female. I will say that if I'm a student, yes, I'll say that I'm a student. And what degree am I pursuing? I'm going to say I'm pursuing a high school degree. Now, this isn't perfect, but what's your highest attained degree? I would say bachelor's degree. I have a bachelor's degree. I'll be able to figure these people out on the back end, and that's okay. And then which of these ranges includes your household income? I'm going to say 45 to 54. Mm-hmm. And then next. And then that's it. So the question is, though, is kind of what happens on the back end and why this approach. So what's going to be really interesting is if you get enough people responding to the survey, say really all you need is like 300 people, which, from other surveys that we've had in the past, we could probably get to. You don't even need that many, just 200 people will suffice as well. What you'll be able to do is you'll actually be able to identify patterns of the way people are answering. So for instance, say earlier in the exercise, I was saying that, basically I was really interested in sidewalks. So we'll be able to isolate and through some clustering methods, basically the people that are really interested in those sidewalks, right? And then what we'll be able to do then is if they provide their address or a cross street, is we'll actually be able to map where those people are located, right? So it takes that information and really gives it new power, right? Or there's going to be people that are like, oh yeah, I'm a biker, I love riding my bike on the multi-use paths. Like that's the most important thing to me. And we'll begin seeing those people as well. And it kind of scores people on a scale of 0 to 100. So at the end of the day, what we will see then is we'll see, okay, these are really the priorities in the neighborhood. And this is, it also assigns percentages to those groups, right? So say there's a group of people that really want bicycle infrastructure, then we'll know that roughly 30% of the people that took this survey are really interested in bicycle infrastructure specifically and value it so X much higher than other items, which is where the real power of this comes in as well. So there's a lot that we get to do with this data because of the way that it's structured. And it's probably not your typical neighborhood community survey, probably a little bit more technically advanced. I don't want to call it the Rolls Royce or the Cadillac, but it's certainly a step up from your old, Ford Escort, if that would make sense. So with that, I can share out the list of things, and I think that that's really where a place where we can have more conversation. What are the things that we want to have citizens respond to? I'm sorry, I almost said consumers because that's just how I talk in my day job. How our citizens respond. And the list of things that we can include, can be big. It can be 20 things, it can be 30 things, it can be 40 things. But as the list gets longer, we're going to need more respondents basically in order to ensure that we're getting good data back. So the great news is that even though someone may not see every option, through this approach that we're using, we can actually estimate how other people are going to answer the survey as well. So that's another kind of cool thing about this is like, you may not see, put in a crosswalk in on high, but if we see that you like crosswalks in other places, we would then begin to understand, okay, actually, no, this person would kind of like these things as well. So, or there might be another person that lives nearby you or, answers the survey very similarly to you, but there's a few different options they see, and we'll be able to estimate it from that as well. So this uses a lot of math.
So,
I like the changes you made, Zach.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think I guess you're right. The question is, do we have the right things on the list?
Yeah.
And I'm not positive I would change the number of things, right? I think that's the right amount of question. To get any more than what we got in there, would probably start to get tedious, right?
Right. Yeah. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure of is when and that's the other thing too, is it doesn't have to be 5 options they see. There can be 3 options they see, right? Or there could be 6 or 7, right? It just depends on how long our list is. And there's all sorts of other balance things that go into it. And I can help there, right? But the place where I think I really want the most feedback is how do we make sure that the options are written in a way that are short enough to where people can quickly identify them, but not so long as to, make them too broad or too general, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
So on this question, would this be the opportunity for someone to say, you have a specific place in mind? I think that'd be something to add.
Yeah.
See if we can get some locational specificity. Like I just looked at the Northwest Corridor survey, and they just asked a question. Is there an improvement you would make, and where would you make it? And they actually got they've gotten good responses to that, as far as I've been told. So that you'd be able to, just before you even got into this, if there was something that was just like top of mind for them, like you put it, could we also ask them exactly where it would be?
So there's another place that we could put it too, and I'm just kind of randomly clicking here. So the other place that we could potentially put this as well is, so after they go through and kind of answer maybe these general ideas, you know, and kind of help provide priority of different things, then what we can do is now that we then know their specifics, right, we could then say, okay, here are your top 3. Do you have any specific places or locations that you would like these things to happen?
Yeah.
Right. And then, you know, yes, this is correct. Now, and then we'll basically repeat these top 3. Are there any specific locations or places where you'd like this to happen? That could be really good at as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot to do it.
Yeah.
I worried a little bit when you said over the next 10 pages, just because 10 sounds like a lot. And yet it didn't take long. So I don't know whether maybe just saying over the next pages, I don't know, but or just telling them that this probably won't take more than 10 minutes, something
That's
like
right.
that.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Somewhere in the beginning.
I do have, and so here's something else that we can do too with this that is maybe perhaps a little different than other surveys that, again, you guys get me, so you guys get a little bit more of a special treatment, as it were, is that I can actually create specialized links that when we share this out to various groups, we can actually see who's responding from those various groups by the link that they select.
Oh, wow.
So say, for instance, we wanted to put a link in, like we put a web survey link into the Clintonville like web forum, right? There would be a unique link there, and then people would click that link, and we know that they came from that place, or at least they saw that specific link. Or we could do like in the spotlight, right, where we create a custom link for the spotlight, and we know, oh, they saw this in the spotlight, they wanted to take the survey from that. So that way we could even get information about where people are coming from too. So there's a lot of different things that we can do with this that because we have the very expensive piece of technology that we can do.
Cool.
That would be great.
So Zach, I was wondering, as you were going through the questions, there were a series of the 10 questions, and those of us that are used to, at least in our day jobs, doing surveys, whether they're just community outreach or needs assessment stuff, whether they're statistically valid or not, there's the question fatigue. And what I noticed about like question, you got to like 7 or 8, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, he's asking me the same question again. It's like, and I'm wondering, is there a point where the public is going to go, oh, geez, all right, I'm out, you know?
Yeah, that's great.
I'm just asking the question.
So I think that if we can keep the survey under 10 minutes, which I think this is,
Yeah.
Then we're going to get a good response rate. If we can keep it under 7 minutes, it's even better. And I think we're pretty close to 7 minutes with this, because what happens is you know, the other thing, you know, we could do too is we could show, I mean, I haven't done this in other places, but we could show them the entire list. You know, we're going to ask you to rate these against each other, right? And or we can only show each item to a person once, right? And that's a different approach, but it's something we can do as well, depending on if we get enough responses, right?
Yeah. I think I like what you've got set up because it's unique. It's really different than most surveys that I think any surveys most people see, to be honest.
Yeah. Funny enough, you know, as a card-carrying PhD planning person, this method was actually invented by planners, if you can believe it.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, do we have an expectation on like sample size or like a response rate? I mean, are there hopes?
So my hope is that if this gets pushed out to the appropriate forums, I think there's going to be a lot of people that will be interested and take it. You know, one of the other things too is that because of the format this way, I'll also be able to kind of look at the way people are responding and actually remove people that are responding too randomly. So, we'll be able to focus in on the good data. So if we get 100 responses, that'll be good enough, actually. We get 400 responses, that'll be even better. Kind of with that 100 response threshold, it will give us at least a very clear priority list, right? In terms of the aggregate. We won't be able to do some of the fancier stuff in terms of looking at groups of people and having some sort of, reliable significance. At that point, we're probably looking at a, plus or minus sampling error of 10% for those segments specifically. Once we get above 200, that drops to about 7%. And once we hit a 400 or 384 specifically, that drops to 5%. Once we hit 800, it's at that point, it's 2-3% and very, very, very reliable. So, like I said, I think that if this gets pushed out to our web forum, to other groups, and we leave it live and open for a month or so, we let people take it, I think there will be enough responses. I really do think there could be 300 or 400 responses to this survey pretty easily. My previous experience doing kind of neighborhood survey work says, I did some work in Wineland Park and I was able to get 411 people to respond to a 20-minute survey for a $5 gift card. So my experience suggests that, if this is a web-based survey and it's easy to take and it's different and fun, I think people will, especially if they know that it's, to help their community and neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So that raises another question. Should we do a gift card? Get someone to donate?
So, one thing that we could do is we could do, provide your email at the end, and we're gonna give away, 10, maybe $20 gift cards, right? And it's $200, and it could be to local businesses, right? Could be like, hey, $20 to Crimson Cup, $20 to Catalina's, right? And we get local businesses to maybe donate a small gift card, and then we raffle it. We draw names out of a hat, and we tell them like, your gift card will be, emailed to you, or we'll email you to get your address to mail you the gift card or what have you.
Yeah, I think to your greater point about sort of getting it out, strangely, I think we should try and get it out obviously in November, but had a lot of success with things happening around the holidays because people have time on their hands. And so I think, having it open around Thanksgiving would be good,
It's looking like we'll all have lots of time on our hands.
Yeah, we'll have lots of time. Yeah, right, exactly. So, I guess to me, the gift card piece would be, we'd have to contact maybe a business or two. We need someone to do that. I think it would be great to just sort of pass the list around of the things we're comparing.
Absolutely.
There are a couple straw men on there. Like, I think we're good on rain gardens here in Huntsville for a while. To me, it's sort of a blueprint thing anyway. It wouldn't really be something that's going to happen as a matter of course, because of the fact that is a program that still exists. So it's probably not worth picking that fight with everybody. It'll turn into Rain Garden Complainer Fest, which won't do as much good.
So the good news is. Oh, go ahead, Libby.
I just is this more to find out where we want to go with any UIRF funds or projects? And rain gardens are definitely not
going to be on that list. Yeah, I mean, URF would probably be the primary funding mechanism, but I don't want to limit ourselves to the requirements of URF, which wouldn't say pay for a sidewalk repair, but only new sidewalks. It would be good to know, where we have some repair issues and how we deal with repair.
Okay.
Another story, but I think it'd be okay to go a bit beyond that. I mean, technically we were calling this the mobility thing, and there are always like a park project or two that pop up, and I don't know if I'd want to discount a park project, even though it's not technically mobility. But I think if the majority of these could be mobility related, I think that's okay. You know, specific kind of questions about, you know, where is there a problem intersection? I think all those sorts of things would come out in the wash of people's selections, and then the opportunity in two places to point to a specific thing that's on their mind or a specific place they'd like to see that improvement. So I think we really just need to get that list of 10 things right.
10, 20, 30 things. I mean, like I said, there's flexibility too. It can be, it doesn't have to be an even number. And not just that too. I mean, I think the biggest consideration is when we're crafting the list of things that we want to examine, that it's just in as plain a speak as possible. You know, not like, you know, road remediation at blah, 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 blah. Like no one's going to know what a road remediation is, or, you know, even things like road diets, you know, I know that there's a lot of people in our community that knows what that know what that is, but not everybody does. So they might rank it artificially lower just because they're unsure of the nomenclature.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if we sort of I think if you explain, you know, Jim, to your point, and Libby, if we put something in the beginning, say, hey, it should take you 10 minutes to do, you know, when we get to the comparing and contrasting question, hey, some of these may seem like we're asking the same question twice, but they trust us as a method to the madness, you know, some sort of explanation, I think would get people to make sure that, you know, they don't think there's a mistake, in, you know, in the survey. But yeah, to me, it's, you know, Zach, maybe if you could pass around to the whole group here, that list that you were working from, and maybe we could all in the next week sort of weigh in on that list and say, here's what, you know, we think, you know, I guess if we all had our own top 10 list perhaps, and we just sort of see how that meshes together. And if we did that in the next week, then, you know, we could probably work toward, you know, gearing up a game plan to roll the survey out maybe the week of the 9th, perhaps of November. And you know, get this thing live. If that, you know, sometime in the next, you know, first 2 weeks of November, getting that thing out there so that it's, you know, it's up and ready, you know, for the weeks around Thanksgiving, and we'll see how many, you know, answers we can get for the survey. And I think, you know, the usual methods of sort of getting the word out. Obviously, you've got, you know, discussion forums, spotlight, booster, area commissioners themselves. And then it sounds like there are some other distribution groups and other Facebook groups or other Google groups or whatever that we should encourage people to. So if we could sort of catalog what those are that we should be getting the word out to, I think that'd be good to do in the next 2 weeks as well.
I can make sure it goes out to like Clintonville Women's Club and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other thing too is let's, you know, so I'm right. Let me get a piece of paper here. I'll start a list of links to create. So like Clintonville Women's Club, Spotlight. And the great news is we can actually create the links even if the survey is not done, because the links are kind of separate. It's almost still linked to the same place, but we'll be able to track where people are coming from at least.
Any connections to any businesses that might be interested in donating? I mean, I don't even know if we need to do like 10. We could just have like 3, you know, some sort of carrot, you know. I don't know.
Some of the businesses are really pushed to the max at this point.
Well, I mean,
with a gift card, it's not really like money out of their accounts, because usually when you have a gift card, you spend more money. So a lot of them have that mindset.
Okay.
But
let me, I'll bring it up with the farmers market gang. You know, how cool would it be to get $20 to the farmers market? You know, you just
an incentive to go there. You're going to spend 40 at least. Right?
Yeah.
That's usually the mindset of like donating gift cards, because sometimes people don't even use them, so it's not. I don't know.
Okay.
Breakage.
Yeah, farmer's market would be great, Jim. And I bet you Johnny Velo would probably
Yeah.
just because of there's a potential, bike audience that that might be interested in the survey. So,
There's Wylands. Oh my goodness.
Oh, the grocery stores, they're killing it. So
yeah. Who does, I don't,
Lucky's.
I'm sure Lucky's and Wylands
Yeah.
would do something. Kroger is a real crapshoot.
That's an understatement.
Libby, if I'm forgetting, is it Jennifer at Wylands? Is that right?
Yes, Jennifer Williams.
Do you know her well enough to see if she would?
Sure.
I think if we just had a couple, that'd be enough to sort of get people's interest.
What about something up north, up BJ, north of Morse, like a, I don't know, Raising Cane's, Villanova. Is Villanova in Clintonville? That's Sharon Township, isn't it? I don't know. Just something in that
how
stretch.
about Pig Iron?
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Or the Greek restaurant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So count on me for at least $20 for the farmer's market. I'll kick that in, and then I'll see how if there's an avenue to do that. I'll talk to them on Saturday.
Pardon my ignorance, but what's your booth at the farmer's market?
It's Nosh, Columbus, booth number 18.
What do you sell?
Baked goods.
Oh.
So my wife has a cottage license and bakes out of the house here out of Clintonville. So
Cool.
at least in the short term, we're looking at possibilities of expanding that though.
Nice.
Cool.
Yep. It's been really successful. So
There's that funky building across from Kroger. I think they used to sell candy. That's up for lease. And they have a sign up that said like, make an
please
offer.
make us an offer, right?
Yeah, owner says move it.
Oh,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
No,
Yeah.
that was the quilt place, and it's
It was
Yeah.
the quote by Moxie's.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, that's an aggressive sign.
I know,
Well,
right?
They
I was
turned
like,
down.
what's the business I could open?
Yeah, they turned down so many offers because they wanted too much, and now all of a sudden they found out that nobody wants it. So
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
So has she started, Jim, selling beyond the market?
She does actually, but only through Facebook right now.
That's cool.
So we are so and Instagram. The face so the farmers market is doing they are doing a winter farmers
Yeah,
market, and it's
yeah.
drive through. I don't know if you may have seen my post on there,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
online pre-order only. And
Oh,
we're gonna go,
okay.
so we're gonna go over and just kind of stand in the cold and have people pick up their online orders. But she does Facebook and Instagram through the week, so she's doing stuff during the week as well.
That's great.
Yeah, beyond a little beyond the farmers market.
That's awesome. Well, I can attest to the Plowman's buns being awesome for burgers. attest to
Andrew's a fan of the Plowmans. Yeah, that's funny.
What's the
They're
Facebook
good.
account? I'll have to look it up.
It's good stuff. Nosh with a K.
Okay,
Nosh Columbus. Yep.
cool.
All right. Well, great. If we can in the next week work together on these 10 or whatever items. Zach just sent that around. I saw it.
Circulate to everyone else too.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I get everybody.
Yeah. Okay. I'll make sure that everyone was on there. And if we can do that in the next week, round up the gift cards and get back with Zach here and fine tune this thing and get the door, then we'll have some answers to talk about next time.
Excellent.
That'd be great.
Also, plan on December 6th for any of you who have younger children. Clintonville Women's Club is going to have a Santa drive-by. And Santa's going to be on the porch and waving, and kids can wave at him and leave their Christmas list, and then there will be a little goodie bag for them. And so that's December 6th from 1 to 3. we all wanted to make sure kids had something for Santa this year.
That's great.
That's a great idea. I
love it.
Doing that.
Thank you. That's awesome. I agree.
So
Yeah,
we are
we'll be getting
also
stuff.
so we are not turning our garage into the haunted house this year for obvious reasons, which we normally do. But we do have the PVC candy chute. So if you guys are on Brevoort, we're doing
oh my gosh.
That's gotta pick up
candy chute.
That's got to pick up some momentum from the top there.
Yeah, we're just doing it in the driveway, and unfortunately, it's
Okay.
supposed to rain, but but we are.
That's this Thursday,
It's
right?
Thursday.
That's Thursday.
It is Thursday
Got it.
evening.
I am so I'm just it's just been I got a flu shot this weekend, and I think I just was
A fog.
so I've got to get back in the swing of things.
Well, it was also August last week, so
That's
I
right.
know.
Yeah, true.
Excellent. Well, that's what we had on the agenda today. Anything
Okay.
else? Anything else from anybody?
Nope. Sounds good. Everybody's doing great.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for.
Hang in there.
That was a very productive hour, and
Yeah.
more fun to come.
Happy Halloween.
Stay safe,
All right.
everyone.
All right.
Yes, happy
Yeah,
Friday,
Friday.
guys.
you too.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.
all right, bye-bye.